What's up, Make Pop Music? It's Austin here from Austin Holt Audio and Visual and Make Pop Music. And of course, it's a special moment when Taylor Swift drops a new album, whether you love her or hate her, or it's not love and it's not hate, it's just indifference. There is no denying that whenever she drops something, it kind of stops music and all of the focus is on that. It's been happening ever since she dropped like Speak Now, Red, 1989. Reputation didn't get as much buzz, and then Lover Now is getting a lot. So I figured, why not make some samples and presets and then give them all to you for free? So those will all be for free in the downloads. However, when I was making those samples and presets, I started playing around with this one little art progression, and I figured, why not turn the camera on and see if I can actually make a Taylor Swift style song from start to finish on camera, like we've done with the Ariana Grande one and the Loud one. And I figured, why not record it? And what we're going to do is we're going to basically build the song up, record vocals, and I'll probably go to the end of the first chorus just because otherwise the song will get really, really long and the video will get really long. But we'll probably have like a minute and a half of song to do, and we're going to focus on basically putting all these sound design elements together, all of these samples together, and really, really trying to nail that Taylor Swift sound. So if you like this video, all of the samples and presets will be available for free. If you want to see me actually diving more into the samples and presets, I can make videos about that in the future, about how I actually create those and what kind of goes into that. But for this video, we're going to be using a lot of the presets, and I might just tweak a little bit. That way we can kind of save some time, and just because all of these presets were made specifically for this purpose. So without further ado, let's actually hop into my DAW and see if we can make a Taylor Swift song. All right, so let's actually hop in. As I said before, I was just kind of making all these samples and presets and had this idea that really came to my mind. So I had the TS Dreamy Pluck preset up, and I was just kind of playing around with this. So I think that this is where we're going to start, and then we'll try to build an entire track around this. So this was done beforehand. Everything from here on out is just as we're going. I was just playing around with something like this. So to me, that sounds super Taylor Swift. So the first thing that we need to do is find a tempo, because right now we're just at the general 120 kind of mark. So let's see. I don't like that at all. That's way too fast, but I kind of want to do double time because to me it's easier to track to. So maybe we'll try like 180. Still a little slow. Let's try like 190. So I'm going to go ahead and track now. So I just tracked it and quantized it. We're good to go. I'm going to skip over a lot of the really boring stuff, like especially when we get to vocals and stuff like that. I'm probably not going to show me like tuning them and chopping them because we've got all kinds of tutorials for that. But for this, I just laid everything down and then quantized it, and now it's good to go. So I'm just going to copy and paste this over several times so we can start kind of playing around with structure. And then we need to actually add in something else. So I'm going to go ahead and add another synth layer. We're going to use Serum. Let's go ahead and open this up. These are called Cruel Summer presets because they were initially going to be only for Cruel Summer, but then I decided to go ahead and change that. So when you download these, they'll just be NPM Swifty presets. Let's see. That's too soft. I think that's too hard. Maybe we need... Yeah, I kind of like that. I like this sound a lot. So this is basically just a saw wave, spread out 8 in unison, spread out 8 in unison, saw wave, saw wave. This one's up an octave. And then you'll see on a lot of these that I kind of mess with the fine tuning because that gives it that little bit of like detuned analog sound. And then we've got this coming in. We've got this little square wave on the sub oscillator. And then we've got envelope 1 just kind of controlling a cutoff. So... So let's actually play around and see if we can get something kind of sick. I'm going to drag this back a couple bars. So I think I definitely want to follow that chord progression, but I kind of want something where I'll have a little bit of extra like secondary melody in it. So I'm going to play around and see what I can get. Kind of like where that's starting. Let's try one more thing. We'll go ahead and record this. There we go. Let's go ahead and quantize that bad boy up. And I am getting a little latency because I'm screen recording. So I'm just going to name this pad 1. As you can see, I've kind of dragged it out just so we've got plenty of room to play with. And here's what we've got now. Cool, so I think we're off to a really, really good start. So the next thing I wanna do is I kinda wanna add a second pad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and duplicate this and call this pad 2. And let's go in and find an actual pad that we want to use. Let's see. That one's kind of nice, but it feels a little soft to me. There we go. There we go. I really like the feelsy pad here. What this basically is, it's like a Juno kind of brass pad. So you can see we've got a Juno wave right here. We've got a saw wave right here, doing something really similar where we've got this envelope kind of controlling a cutoff. That's going to be the main key with all of these like really vintage sounds, is like getting that really, really nice low pass cutoff to kind of sweep down. So we're losing most of the top end most of the time. So with that pad on, it feels like this. I'm really liking this so far. Let's go ahead and add something else. Right now, I feel like we need to go ahead and add in like a bass. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add in Serum. I'm gonna go ahead and route this to my bass. And there's quite a few bass patches in this pack, just because as I was listening to the album, there's just so many different like basses and pads basically carry most of the production. That's fun, kind of hard right now. That's that like Cruel Summer kind of intro bass ARP. Probably use that in the hook. It's just way too much right now. That one's kind of nice. I like that one, but not for this. That's kind of what I want. I just want like a really, really, really subtle bass. As you can see, this is basically just like a sine wave that's got some sync going on, and then we're cutting off a lot of stuff down there. We've got some effects going, just some compression. So let's go ahead and add this in. Perfect, let's quantize that bad boy up. All right, so now we've got a couple pads going. We've got that movement going with the main pluck, and we've got that bass pad. So I feel like right now we're at a pretty solid foundation. There's one more thing I wanna kinda add before we get into like percussion or vocals. And that's really just some kind of little counter melody. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another synth line. So we'll go ahead and route this to synth. But I want some kind of like top end melody. Kind of hard to describe, but I'll play it along as we're going through this. So let me go to my pads here. Let's see. So I've got the Angels pad right here. I think that's going to be a really good fit for what I want to do. What I kind of want to do is I want to add these extra like suspended notes up top, add those in as some kind of airy pad. Like you hear this a lot in like gospel music, kind of does it a lot. Really like atmospheric indie music does it a lot. 1975 and like Bleachers will do this kind of thing a lot, where they just add like 1 or 2 extra notes on top of everything to make sure that a melody is kind of carrying through, especially with everything getting so washed out. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and track that. So now we've got this high pad right here. I went ahead and tracked everything. As you can see, it's all quantized. Let's just kind of recap, because right now I think I'm about ready to start adding drums, and then I'll be ready to start adding some vocals, because right now this is plenty for a verse for a Taylor Swift song. Perfect. Let's start adding drums. To add drums, I like using Groove Agent, and I like doing that because I can kind of change samples around. I can change things about the samples. It's just a really, really nice sampler, and I prefer to play mine. So you'll probably see me, as we add stuff, you'll see me start adding in like maybe hi-hats or like little other kind of elements on the actual grid. But for like my kick, my snare, my toms, my main like hi-hat, stuff like that, I'm always going to use Groove Agent, just because to me I can dive in a little bit deeper and do a little bit more of what I want to do and do it just a little bit better. So let's go ahead and let's just drag in this stumpy kick. I didn't go crazy with kicks in the pack because honestly most of them sound the same in the album. And then I also have a stomp. I don't know if I want that yet, actually. Let's just see. So I want to do something, maybe have it pick up a little bit more than that. So let's play around with patterns. I think we can do something like that. Let me track it. Let's go ahead and quantize, and I'm going to swap some stuff around. So now I've got a kick pattern that I quite like. I think that it's going to work out really well, and I'm going to put snare probably on the 2 and 4. Here's what it sounds like with a kick. So I do think that I kind of want some kind of little stomp just to kind of lay under it. But it's going to have to be really subtle because it's a pretty minimal track. Otherwise, it's going to get really gross. That's the stomp that's in the pack. Yeah, I think we can make that work. I'm going to turn this, let me hear. I've already copied and pasted that, so we're good to go there. So I'm going to turn it down 6 semitones so it's not so high and it kind of has a little bit longer sustain. I'm going to turn it down by like 6 or 7 dB. And then the last thing that I kind of want to do is I want to filter this out, because right now I don't need all of that high end. So let's hear what it sounds like now. That's so much better to me. And then we can just go ahead and shorten the sample up so we're not getting a stupid amount of like decay or release. There we go. Now we're moving. Let's add in some snares because I think that that will really, really start to help this thing pop. Let's see what we can do. There's quite a few snares to pick from. Honestly, let's go with this hard snare and let's just see how it sounds. It's actually kind of a cool sound. Let's see. It's pretty cool. I think that we could use a couple little adjustments on it. Let's see what it sounds like. Let's see that. Let's see. Let's try. Yeah, I like that a lot, so we'll go ahead and add that in. I kind of want to add like a clap or something over every other hit, and there is a really big like roomy clap in here that I think could work out really well. Let's try that on every other hit. Let's see. I do like this clap, but before we add it in, let's try that. Turn it down 5 semitones. Let's try. Yes, now we're going. So the reason I'm adding that big kind of sustained reverb kind of clap on the second hit is because to me, that's giving it a lot of depth and a lot of body. And just having that really dry snare hit hits really good on the 1 and 3, but I wanted something with a little bit of extra carryover on that 2 and 4. Perfect. Okay, so now we've kind of got all of these pads, this little ARP, that high pad doing the counter melody, we've got a bass pad, and we've got this kick and snare, which I'm really digging a lot. The only thing is that kind of like initial melody to me is getting lost at bum 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 bum. So let's do a main pluck 2, and let's maybe throw in, I think there's another pluck in here. Yeah, let's try this. There we go. Adding that added a lot of different body to that pluck. There we go. And so this second pluck that we've added is kind of just like a little saw, kind of soft pluck. It's just a sawtooth wave, 7 on the unison, detuned, not much actually. You can see that it's got quite a big release right here. And we've got envelope 2 controlling this cutoff. So it's just doing that same kind of... As I said before, that envelope going into that cutoff is really all of the sauce of this. And that, again, is just the vintage pluck that's going to be in the pack. Perfect. Honestly, I'm ready to start adding vocals in now. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Google Doc, and then we can start writing these. So I'm just going to kind of go along, and once we write all the vocals and finish out some of the other production, we'll go ahead and track them. First, we have to write a melody, right? So let's just go ahead and hop straight in. I'm going to go ahead and open up a little piano because we'll probably cut the sound from my mic so you're not getting a lot of phase from the room. And then that way you can actually hear what I am kind of singing along. So let's play around with this piano while I'm kind of humming and see if we can get any solid melodies. So I've got something I really like. Kind of want to keep the melody along those 4 kind of notes. That's the C, D, E, and G. So let's play around. So I kind of like that. So we got the da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, and da 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 da. So it's, that's the melody I want to go with. That's it. So now we just need to write something to that. So let's get a Google Doc up and let's go da 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 da. Da, da, da. What does Taylor Swift sing about a lot? We have to throw in a New York line because everybody knows she's from New York and she reps that shit hard. So, I'm in New York. There we go. I'm in New York. Da 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 da. Something something. I'm in New York. Da 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 da. Let's make it a love song because is it even a Taylor Swift song if it's not a love song? Oh, I typed in love. You're in, let's do, I'm in New York, you're in LA. Yeah, I like that. Shout out Black Bear. I'm in New York, you're in LA. Da 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 da, da da da. So we can make it about like missing somebody. The sun hasn't shone, it's pouring rain. There we go. The fog, da 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 da. Let's do the fog that sits still on my window pane is covered in marks from where I write your name. So I just picture like Taylor Swift like sitting in her penthouse in New York with like rain and fog on the windows and her just like drawing, you know, Harry Styles or whatever. So let's do that. Let's kind of take a listen. I'm in New York, you're in LA. The sun hasn't shone, it's pouring rain. The fog that sits still on my window pane is covered in marks from where I write your name. There we go. Let's have a change up here. So the first thing that comes to mind is da 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 da, which I think might be a Taylor Swift song, but it's okay for the premises of this video. Let's see. Yeah, let's do that. Where like before, we were kind of bouncing around between this C, D, and E. Let's kind of take it up to G to carry this. So let's do da 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 da. Let's do Call Me Up Tonight. I'm leaving this pretty general right now to where it could easily be about somebody who's still together and they're just sad that they're apart, or it could be about a breakup. So let's see. Call me out tonight. So why did that? Let's see. So I can get some. Call me up tonight. So I can get some sleep. Goodbye. Let's see. Cause baby. There we go. Da 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 da. Let's do You're Still on My Mind. Call me out tonight so I can get some sleep. Cause baby, you're still on my mind. And da, 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 da. Let's see. Call me out tonight so I can get some sleep. Cause baby, you're still on my mind. Let's do When You're Not Here. It drives me crazy. I just need some time. Let's see. To find myself. Been thinking lately. Now I think that we should swap up this melody right here because it's getting kind of monotonous. It's so high all the time. You don't want to be in that da 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 da. Like it just gets exhausting to listen to. So let's run it back. I'm in New York, you're in LA. The sun hasn't shown, it's pouring rain. The fire sits still on my window pane. It's covered in marks from where I write your name. Call me out tonight so I can get some sleep, 'cause baby it's... Okay, I think I know what I want to do. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud here. Let's see. Call me out tonight so I can get some sleep, 'cause baby... So since I want to change up this last line, I think I'm going to do something like, to find myself been thinking lately. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So let's do, I need a little closure. Now it's about a breakup. Or I need you to come closer. So this is basically sounding like it's like a long distance relationship that they thought was going to work. And it's kind of just like fizzling out right in front of her eyes. Call me up tonight so I can get some sleep, because baby you're still on my mind. When you're not here it drives me crazy. I just need some time to find myself been thinking lately. I need a little closure, or I need you to come closer. Perfect. Let's rock it. Now this next part is going to be like the pre-chorus. Let's see what we need to do there. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I think I want to keep this kind of like I think it's like a blank space kind of melody and rhythm. But we're going to change up the melody just a little bit. So we can do, are you sending me a message? There you go. Do you have a point to prove? Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Let's do, are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to make my move? So let's do, I know I can be excessive, but I'm just obsessed with you. Now let's kind of change this up a little bit. Let's like change up this end rhyme, because we're getting a little bit monotonous, and we've got to go into a hook right here. So let's do a rom-com reference in there. So let's do, it's a sticky situation when we're lost in translation. Bam, bada boom, holy moly, this is more Taylor Swift than Taylor Swift is. So I'm not going to sit here and make you guys listen to all of this because we'll kind of run through the whole track at the end when we're done. But I think that this is going to be the top line, and I think what I want to do is have everything die out here for this kind of pre-chorus. So I might even kill those little main plucks, and then I might have everything come in right here again for a hook. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag these drums. We might change them when we get there, but I think that the hook is actually just going to be this repeated. The, are you sending me a message? Just because I find it super, super catchy, and I think that we can stack vocals really easily on that. So I think that the top line is basically done. I just need to actually record it. Before I do that, there is one extra thing that I want to do. I think that when these drums come in, I want to go ahead and add a third pad, and let's go ahead and sort through the pads, just because everything's going to come in, and I feel like we need something to compete. So let's do, we've already used Angels. I don't really want that. Let's see. Too soft. Just used it. That could be it. That's going to be it. We're going to go with higher up right here. So we're going to use that. So when everything comes in, now we've got... Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually record the vocals. So the way that it's going to work, since I can't record vocals while I'm doing the screencasting because the audio drivers are just different, I'm going to record all of the vocals for everything and then kind of run down where I put stacks and harmonies and why I put them there. If you want to know how I record my vocals, I have done a whole video on that where I basically talk about like mic placement, all of the good kind of technical stuff. But for right now, I'm just going to snap and we're going to have vocals, okay? All of the vocals have been added. It's the top line that we have just written. And you can see right here, there is quite a lot of stacking. So we've got a lead vocal, a low vocal, which is just that lead, sung 1 octave lower, actually sung 1 octave lower. Then we've got the lead that I performed again, pan to the left, a lead that I performed again, pan to the right, harmony, pan to the left, harmony tracked again, pan to the right, a second harmony tracked to the left, and then a second harmony tracked again to the right, and then we've got this little hey shout. So I have put a very basic vocal chain on here. It's just typically what I'm always doing, Auto-Tune, Virtual Mix Rack Pro. I used the Slate ML1, so I'm just using I believe it's the 251 on here. We've got the FGN. It's basically the same thing I do in all of my how to mix vocal videos, so if you guys want to see those, I'll put those in the description below. I don't want to get too caught up in mixing since this is a production video, and I've basically added the same thing to every track. So let's go ahead and listen to what it sounds like now with my vocals.
I'm in New York, you're in LA, the sun hasn't shone, it's pouring rain, the fog is still on my window pane, it's covered in marks from where I write your name. Call me up tonight so I can get some sleep, cause baby you're still on my mind. When you're not here it drives me crazy, I just need some time to find myself. Been thinking lately I need a little closure, yeah, or I need you to come closer. Call me.
Let's actually hop into what we've got going on here. So I've got this lead vocal, and then we'll actually hop into, there's a couple things I want to do for vocal production. I want to add like a wide crush vocal and a vocoder. We'll add those as soon as I kind of show you what the arrangement is doing. So we've got our lead vocal.
Call me up tonight so I can get some sleep, cause baby you're still on.
Same things, just panned left and right. You have to track them three separate times so they actually pan out. Otherwise, everything's just going to collapse to the center. So track the vocal 3 separate times.
When you're not here, it drives me crazy. I just need some time.
An octave lower, so we're filling that in really nicely. That adds a nice little bit of body to it.
Call me up tonight, so
Then we've got these harmonies right here, and these are really what make it pop.
Call me up tonight, so I can get some sleep, cause baby, you're still on my mind. When you're not here, it drives me crazy. I just need some time to find myself. Been thinking lately.
Then we've got these 2 extra little falsetto harmonies that come in right here.
I need a little closure, yeah, or I need you to come closer.
And then really similar arrangement to the chorus, same kind of thing. Leads, here are the harmonies for that chorus.
Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Man, you got me second guessing.
And then I believe this is just the octave higher.
Is it time for me to make my move? I know I can be excessive, but I'm just obsessed with you. It's a sticky.
So now that that's done, there's one thing that I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this lead vocal because I've been noticing Taylor doing this a ton in her music, which is that kind of analog, old school style slapback delay vocal. So we're going to do H delay. And the reason that I use H delay is it's just honestly so simple, you really can't mess it up. And there's not a ton of knobs, where something like Repeater or Echo Boy is really great. However, sometimes it's easy to get carried away in those. So I'm just going to use this like little slapback.
New York, it's pouring rain. The fog is still.
So that's already sounding sick. The next thing I want to do is just add in some saturation. Then we're going to go through and we're going to filter this out. So I'm using Pro Q3 to scoop out some of those highs and lows that we're going to get, especially after adding Decapitator. I love Decapitator. It's my favorite kind of saturation plugin. However, it can be really overload, and for me to get the sound that I want it at 100% wet, so we A, don't get any phasing with that vocal because it is duplicated, but B, I just want it to be pushed really hard, so.
I'm in New York, you're in LA, the sun hasn't shone, it's pouring rain, the fog is.
And then we'll just tuck that in nice and low. So that's how to get that, like, you hear it happening a lot, and like Harry Styles has used it in his music. Taylor Swift is using it a lot. Everybody's kind of doing that like wide crush, like analog vintage vocal sound. And that's really all it is add like slapback delay and then actually saturate it. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and duplicate this lead vocal again, because it's actually specifically only in this pre-chorus. I'm gonna call this vocoder. Let's go in and let's add vocal synth 2. And then what we do in that is we're gonna go ahead and swap this to MIDI mode. And that's all we need for right now. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add a MIDI track. This is gonna be called vocoder send. Make sure that you route this to vocal synth. Let's actually change the sound. I'm gonna make it super wide. Turn on everything except CompuVox.
Message. Do you have a point to prove? You got me second guessing.
Let's turn this down an octave, because right now it's just a little too high.
Are you sending me a message?
And let's swap this out. I want this to kind of rise with it. So, are you sending me a message? I want it to follow that same kind of melody.
Are you sending me? Are you sending me a message?
And then this is just gonna go.
Are you sending me a message?
So now with the vocoder, we've got.
Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to make my move? I know I can be excessive, but I'm just obsessed with you. It's a sticky situation when we're lost in translation.
And we track these haze. I'll hop into that in 1 second. One thing that I want to do very, very, very quickly is scale this back. I want everything to stop at this bar, so I'm just going to pull this back so nothing carries over.
As with you, it's a sticky situation when we're lost in translation. Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing.
Perfect. We're moving along really, really, really well. So now you can see we've got that lead vocal, the vocoder, and the crush vocal, and then we've got all of these extras. Let's actually hop into this hey shout. So as you can see, there's like 12 or 13 different audios. So what I did was I just tracked hey literally 12 or 13 times, and then just copied and pasted each one. So you can see I panned left 100, right 100, left 81. You can see I've just kind of like, I just dragged all of the hays and panned them accordingly. And then I bounce those all down to one audio file, which is where you get this hey. So this is just 12 different hays. Hey! And then just literally added some reverb. And that's it. So just track 12 times, panned them out, bounce that down to one single hey. Now we've got this.
When we're lost in translation, are you sending me a message?
I want to do one more thing. I added this little riser here, and I think this riser is actually in the key of C. And let's raise it up. And I'm gonna drag this. I'm just gonna put it in my drums group because right now there's nothing in effects, and I don't want to have a whole group just for this. So let's see.
But I'm just obsessed with you. It's a sticky situation when we're lost in translation. Are you sending me a
Perfect. Moving along really, really well. Let's actually hop into this chorus because the chorus, the drums need a lot of beefing up, and then we can probably add a couple little pad elements to make sure that everything hits harder than it is right now. Okay, so the first thing I want to do for this hook is I want to go ahead and add more snares. So I'm going to duplicate the snare track because right now the snare pattern is not going to change. So let's call this snare 2. Let's open this up, and then let's swap out some of these actual snares. So let's do the 75 snare. That's pretty sick. And then let's also layer in the Swifty Thicky to again give us that 1-2 hit though. So let's hear that.
Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to make my move? I know I can.
That's sick. The next thing that we need to add is some actual toms, because to me, that's one of the big parts, especially of Jack Antonoff's production, is toms. So let's go ahead and let's add Groove Agent into our drums. We'll call it toms. I actually included a set of 3 toms in here, so there is a high, a mid, and a low. Right now, they're not really to the tuning I want. That's better. I want lower toms. And then what I do with my toms is I always pan them. So the first tom will go like between 30 and 50% to the left, as it would like on a rack. The second one's gonna do 30 to 50 between the right. And then I always go pretty wide, so like 60. So it sounds like you're at a drum set. So we got, let's see.
When we're lost in translation, are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that down real quick. So now we've got an extra snare for our chorus, and we've got these toms. Now we need to get these toms really sounding like 80s toms. So the first thing I want to do is add a gated reverb, and there is the perfect patch for that on Verb Suite. So we're just gonna go to this gatey 80s. There we go. And then I kind of want to do an envelope shaper because right now they have a lot of sustain that I want to kill a little bit of. So let's do. There we go. So I'm still getting a little bit of that kind of sustain. I just don't want them to make the track super muddy because especially as we add more elements in this hook, it's really easy to get overloaded with low end. Now I want this actual like length of the toms kind of added back in, but not super apparent like it would have been. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scoop out some of this because this is just a really bright preset.
Is it time for me to make my move? I know I can be excessive, but...
Perfect. Now what I wanna do is I wanna actually go in and we need to just tighten these up just a little bit. There's kind of this weird mid frequency that's clouding everything up. That sound is kind of gross to me. But I do want some presence added back. So I'm scooping out this like really tubby mids. We'll drag it over closer to like 480 actually. Then I'm dragging out a little bit of this like really like clicky high end, but then I want a little bit of presence and I want a little bit of body added back in. So I'm just doing those boost stairs. Now listen to how that comes in. That hits so much harder with that extra snare, the extra 2 snares actually, and the extra tom.
But I'm just obsessed with you. It's a sticky situation when we're lost in translation. Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing.
Perfect. The next thing I want to do is I kind of want to change this kick pattern. Just because right now it's a little minimal compared to the toms. After playing around for a second, I decided to just go with. Just so it's not as busy as the toms, but it's also not getting in the way of anything else. It just kind of supplements them really nicely. So the next thing I want to add is I think we need some kind of like hi-hat just to give it a little bit of rhythm. So again, we're going to open up Groove Agent. Let's see if we have any hi-hats. I think there's a couple. Yeah, there is. Let's do a closed hi-hat right now. And then let's just drag that in. Let's see.
Are you sending me a message?
So we're going to lay down a pattern and then I'm going to automate it because I don't want it to be so... You'll see. Let's just knock it out. So you'll see what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down every other 2. And what that's going to do is that's going to create like this nice little like galloping rhythm that I think that we kind of need to carry everything along. So let's take a listen.
Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point? Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point?
That's perfect. I'm just gonna rename this and drag them over. Just renamed them hats, dragged everything over and panned them a little bit to the left. But I wanna go ahead and I wanna add in some sort of like open hat just because right now it's getting a little bit stale. So I think what we can do is we can actually just trim that open hat.
Are you sending me?
Let's do.
Are you sending me a message?
Now let's go ahead and add in let's do a little splash. That could be fun. Let's add it in under those second snare hits, because to me, that's gonna add this nice little extra bit of sustain. One thing I wanna do though, is this is still kind of pan to the right within the sample. I actually wanna flip that around, so I'm gonna use S1 and then just reverse the left and the rights, and then I'm gonna pan it a little bit to the left. So now we've got...
Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? And you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to make...
Let's go ahead and add a little bit of reverb to it so it kind of decays just a little bit easier. So now that those second hits have that splash on them, I want the first hits to have a little something, so I'm gonna drag a little tambourine on them, and we'll just pop that on every other snare hit. So let's see how that's gonna work out. And the reason that I'm adding all these like little secondary percussive elements is because if they're not there, the track gets really bland and really boring, and you start having to add a lot of other like chord patches and synth patches and melodies and stuff like that. And when you're doing all of that, it gets to be really, really overwhelming and the song feels crowded. Where with percussion, you can kind of get away with crowding everything a little bit more to kind of create this big soundscape. Let me go ahead and add a little bit of reverb on this tambourine. I'm just gonna use the Verb Suite natural setting because I don't really need anything special. Turn a little bit of high end down, and then I want to turn this splash down just a little bit too. It's kind of apparent. And let's see.
Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to...
Last thing I think I want is I did include one big crash in here, and I think that big crash would do really, really nicely for actually coming in and just making this chorus pop a little bit. So I'm gonna route this to drums, turn it down quite a bit.
We're lost in translation. Are you sending me a...
Perfect, so drums and vocals are done. There's one thing that I wanna do with this bass is I wanna add a jumpy little bass line, because Taylor Swift is very, 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 very known for that, especially in songs like Style. There is one that I included in here that I think might be perfect, that we might not even have to tweak. Jumpy bass. Let's hear that. That's perfect. What I want to do though is I want to take it up an octave, just because right now it's going to sit in the way of the main bass. And then I also want to kickstart this to give us that which is really like her style. Like if it's 4 on the floor like that, it's not really going to do much. There's 2 more things that I think that I want to add. I want to add one more pluck, because right now the plucks are kind of fading off to the background again as we've added all of those percussive elements. Let's see. I think there might be only 2 plucks in here. Nope, there's 3. There's a little bell pluck. Oh, that's actually perfect. I'm gonna delete this piano because that's from where we were writing the melody. And then I want to add one more little pad. And this pad is really gonna be the last little bit of thickness that we need. So we're gonna call this pad 4. And for pad 4, I want something with a lot more high end. I don't know if this is a pad. Let's see. I can't remember. Oh, that's actually perfect. So it is a lead, but since it's not mono, and I just need it for some chord stability and some extra buzz, I am going to go ahead and use that. Perfect. And honestly, I think the song is done. So we'll go ahead and take one final listen to everything. And as we're listening, I'll kind of open and close everything and show you what my levels and panning look like. So kind of pay attention to that. But here's the final rundown. I think it's done. I think we made a Taylor Swift song.
I'm in New York, you're in LA. The sun hasn't shown, it's pouring rain. The fog is still on my window pane. It's covered in marks from where I write your name. Call me up tonight so I can get some sleep, 'cause baby, you're still on my mind. When you're not here, it drives me crazy. I just need some time to find myself. Been thinking lately, I need a little closure, yeah, or I need you to come closer. Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to make my move? I know I can be excessive, but I'm just obsessed with you. It's a sticky situation when we're lost in translation. Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to make my move? I know I can be excessive, but I'm just obsessed with you. It's a sticky situation when we're lost in translation.
Bada boom, we're done. All right, Pop fam, well that is it. I hope you guys think that this sounds pretty much exactly like Taylor Swift. I honestly think I nailed it. I think it's a good mix of what she was doing in 1989, which is my favorite album from her, and some of the stuff she's done on Lover. There's definitely a lot of that kind of synth pop, kind of synth wave retro sound in there, especially with all of the synths and some of the bigger drums like the toms and stuff like that. But like I said before, you're available to download all of these presets and samples for free. There's just a link in the description. If you guys want to see more videos like this where I make some packs and then make some songs styled after a certain artist, definitely know which artist you want me to do, because they do take a little bit of time. However, they're super, super fun for me, and they're a really, really nice challenge to make sure that I'm still keeping up with my A game. So I really enjoyed making this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want more samples and presets, or if you want more tutorials where they're a little bit more in depth and kind of show every step of the process, go to our website, makepopmusic.com. On there, you'll find a whole bunch of stuff: blog posts, courses, tutorials, MIDI packs, sample packs, all of that good stuff. But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know if you guys like it and what you want to see next. And until then, much love, make pop music. Peace out.
Are you sending me a message? Do you have a point to prove? Now you got me second guessing. Is it time for me to make